at Brookfields here. So another Eric Clapton video for you. I thought the last one, the pretending one, was good fun. I enjoyed that, and it was nice using a different sound as well. I suppose on the back of this John Mayer thing, doing his kind of 80s style, heavily influenced by Clapton. And then I was kind of thinking, you know, what to do next, because you can jump around all over the place. And I thought, why don't I just do the next track on the Journeyman album? Because it is a great album. You know, it's one of his best albums, arguably, because it's just got great guitar playing on it, and the arrangements and everything is super slick. And it's a different sound. I suppose, you know, when you look, we did the John Mayall album, whole album there, didn't we? We've done a lot of Cream and stuff, and Derek and the Dominoes. So it'd be nice to kind of touch on this 80s thing, which I found really inspiring at the time, you know, because that was the time that I kind of discovered him around about, you know, 85, 86, and then through to this period. I think this is 1989, this album, isn't it? I can't quite see there, but yeah, 1989. So the Journeyman. So let's check out the next track there. So Anything for Your Love, which is kind of like a real power chord based thing. I'm going to go through the solo. I was kind of playing it there. I'll go through it bit by bit, and then, you know, we'll do the whole thing. But you know, I can't remember who it was that asked the question on the last video about the sound, the Eric Clapton sound. It might have actually been on one of the John Mayer videos. But he was saying maybe do a lesson on the Clapton sound. And it's kind of hard to do that, because I can tell you what I use, but it's really about how you attack the notes and how confident you can be in that kind of style. Because, you know, he kind of plays the acoustic guitar pretty similar to the way he plays the electric guitar. He really lashes into it, and especially when he's playing kind of lead lines and stuff. So the gear is probably one of the least important aspects of like the Clapton thing, you know, and the fact that he can just play any guitar, and he has pretty much played every style of electric guitar more or less in his career, hasn't he? The classic designs anyway, and he always ends up sounding like him with different degrees of maybe heaviness, or, you know, but in this 80s period, I thought it was quite interesting. I was thinking maybe he was influenced by Prince to use that slightly more processed kind of sound. I don't know if he did use chorus or not, but I mean, it kind of sounds like he's got a little bit of chorusing going on there. So what I have here is I have the Velvet Fuzz on, and I like using that a lot, whether I'm doing the Cream stuff or even the Blues Breaker stuff with the Les Paul. And even when I'm doing this kind of 80s stuff, I really like using the Wampler Velvet Fuzz. And I have loads of different overdrives, but I find there's a kind of a grittiness to it which kind of works really well. And then I've got a Carl Martin Atlantic, which is a pretty cheap and cheerful chorus, and it does a really good rotary sound, but it's good for that quite shallow chorusing. So you can hear there's just a touch of it which is kind of making a kind of a modulation there. So that's what I'm using here. You know, I'm using my 60s original reissue. My amp is the PV 5 watt. I have lots of very loud amps that I could use here, but when I'm at home I just use a 5 watt. And there's no reverb on that, so I use this Surfy Bear reverb. So PV amp, Surfy Bear reverb. It's a real spring reverb. And then you've got like the Atlantic chorus and the Velvet Fuzz in front of it. And, you know, that in itself, you can get a long way with a pretty heavy rock kind of vibe on that. And then, you know, you might want to, instead of using the fuzz, you might want to use a nice overdrive. And there's, you know, some of my favorites being on the fancy end of things. I like the Prince of Tone, and I use a Blues Power by King Tone as well a lot. But, you know, I have tube screamers that I use on gigs as well, because if I don't want to take some of the fancy pedals out, because I know there's a likelihood that beer is going to be thrown around, then I'll just use a tube screamer or something. So I'm not too massively thinking that the gear is as important as the internet and YouTube channels can make it out to be. It's kind of fun to talk about gear and that, but a lot of it is really in the way that you attack the notes and the confidence about what you're playing and how much you can kind of hear it. So that's what I hope these lessons kind of deliver, is that I play a phrase, you know, and then you kind of play along and you get to hear these phrases, internalize them. And that's the hardest thing, is being able to learn a solo and be able to kind of just sing it in your head. And if you can sing it in your head, it's more likely to come out your fingers. No pedal or guitar is going to do that for you. So the main heavy lifting is really in that practicing to get the phrases in your ear. Let's have a listen to the solo on Anything But For Your Love Anyway. This is track 2 on the Journeyman album. There's some classic Clapton playing. So I like to do this kind of thing where and I think that's what he does. I mean, you could just go, but I think he bends into the root. It adds a little bit more, you know, instead of going, but you could hear it as, but I hear it as, and then you go up to the 15, which is only a half step bend. And you only have to bend a tiny bit to get those half steps. And then he does a huge bend. And like I said, you only need to bend a tiny bit to get a different pitch in this area of the neck. So he's bending all the way up to 20. So you know, let's have a listen to that again. And a lot of that stopping the note at the top of the bend. You know, I'm tempted to hit the root there as well. It's kind of a bit question mark. Does he go back to the 17 or stay on the 15? The 15 is much more perceivable, but there's a chance he might just be going. But that's what it sounds more like on the recording. You've got this so we're in the key of C minor, yeah, and then so I'm playing the 18. You do a pre-bend up to 20 and bend it down. And then that's just a... So that's an overbend again at the second string 20. So yeah, so I'm bending the 16 there. It's again where he starts that bend is, you know, kind of hard to hear, but you can hear he's going. He's getting up to that 20. So before we bent from the 16, but because he's going, You could bend from 18, that would be much easier. So I'll be like, and then do it. What I tend to do is do it from the 16 though, which is going to require a lot more power to get up to that 20. So, but it's, you know, kind of arguably a little bit more intense sounding. So from the big overbend, and then he does like a trill to the roots because we're in C minor. So let's have a go at the whole solo, will we? Give it another go, will we? So there it is. If you want to check out the chords are just pretty much power chords. You've got this E flat, F, and then power chords. Second time. So they're the verse chords. And that's the chorus. So the post-chorus bit is like B flat, C, B flat, C. So they do that a few times. Back into a verse. So it's great that it's all one shape, yeah? Now here's the solo again. So anyway, there you go. Anything for your love. Bit of fun that, the old 80s Clapton. If you're enjoying this, please subscribe, let me know, because I'll do more. You know, there's a good chance we did the whole of the Blues Breakers Beano album. There's no reason why we can't tackle that for a bit of fun, and it helps get a good insight into the guitar playing of Clapton. Keep it burning, everyone, and I'll speak to you soon.